Hello everyone, I'm Dr.V.Srividhya. The subject which I'm going to discuss is entrepreneurship development. In entrepreneurship development, the unit is preparing the business plan, and in preparing the business plan, the subtopic which I'm going to discuss in detail in this video is pitfalls of business plan. What is pitfalls and why we have to avoid while preparing business plan? Pitfalls means like in all the previous video we were discussing about how we are going to prepare a business plan, what is business plan, how we are going to prepare a business plan and the format of business plan, and what all has to be covered, what are the aspects to be covered in the business plan. All this we had discussed in detail in the previous video sessions. So now so by now we have understood what exactly is business plan, what is planning and what is business plan. So clearly we have discussed about all these aspects. And in the previous topics also I have told you like preparing business plan is not an easy task. It should be prepared by experts, and each and every aspect, that is like financial aspect, marketing, human resources, all this while discussing, like we have undergone many points which has to be taken into consideration while preparing the business plan. So this clearly states that like how much importance we have to give to be given while preparing the business plan. So while preparing the business plan, what all we should avoid, since based on this business plan only the company is going to start, or if it is an existing company it is going to continue with this. Based on this, the business plan is the base for everything. So suppose if you look into financial aspect, what are the, how it is going to manage the funds, what is the cash flow statement, fund flow statement, where the break even point will be arriving, all this will be taken in the financial aspect. So when preparing the business plan, keeping all this in mind only, business plan will be prepared. So while preparing the business plan, what else we should give importance is pitfalls to be avoided. What is pitfalls means, when we take into consideration all the aspects what I have given here as points and we'll discuss in detail. So what happens, we should see to that we avoid all this so that the business plan will come out very well. First point is, do not expect to write business plan in one day. When we are planning something, very small event or small program, in one day, whatever we are planning and chalking it out, it won't work out. Again, next day that plan may change. Someone will come and give a much more better idea, or maybe they may give some suggestions, something else to be added. So if we just take a small event or small program only, there will be lot of changes within a week. If you take into consideration, say within this week we'll try to prepare all the plans, business plan. Based on that we can work out like that. You discuss and start writing the plan. So just you can imagine, or if you have already done any program or event, you can just recollect it. You can imagine like what all the changes were occurring day to day. When only for small event or program so much happens, then imagine about the business, large business, or let it be small business also, wherein we have to take into consideration many aspects. So, like, I want to prepare the business plan. Yes, I will do it. I'll complete up. My work is over. That should not be the intention, because we cannot write business plan in just one day. It should be planned and written in a systematic manner, taking into consideration all the aspects, what all we have to take. Suppose if you take, you think you're going to prepare marketing plan, so many aspects we have to take into consideration. For piece, marketing mix, for important piece we have to take into consideration, and when it comes to service, 7 piece we should take into consideration. So in all this, just only for marketing if you have to take, then we can understand like for the whole business what all aspects we have to take into consideration. So we cannot expect to write business plan in one day. It has to be discussed, it has to be surveyed, and you have to do many lot of things before writing the business plan. Then only the business plan will be very effective. So there is a point where here it mentions that do not expect to write business plan in one day. Then do not overestimate or underestimate numbers. Suppose if HR resources are preparing the plan. See, when the business plan is prepared, it is not like one man show. Many experts come together and they discuss, and each one of the experts will be expert in that particular field. So they discuss, all this will be compiled together and prepare business plan will be prepared. So suppose I'll just give an example of human resources. Here in the second point, it's mentioned do not overestimate or underestimate numbers, which means to say that just preparing the business plan to be on the safer side, will just instead of five employees will be required in human resources. Who knows afterwards some work may creep out. Why giving five? Let me give eight to be on the safer side. What if it is more? What will happen? So I will give eight numbers. Let us see afterwards. So that should not be your intention. And underestimate is five members. Approximately you calculate. See for this particular department one, that particular department one. So you just calculate, and the ultimate figure comes to five. So what happens? Why five employees we should recruit? So for paying remuneration to five is very difficult. I'll just mention three. Three is enough. We'll try to manage within this three. Three members only. We'll see what happens. So here in the planning you would have given three employees are required. So do you think when three employees are required, management will recruit five? Obviously no. As it is, they'll see to cutting the cost. So, what happens? This becomes the underestimate. So, while preparing the business plan, we should neither overestimate nor underestimate. It should be almost similar. Maybe, see, when five are required, four or six is okay. Later on, we can, for one number, we can just do some changes. But it should not be too much like over. It should not be over or it should not be under. So, a nominal figure you have to try to chalk it out. Then only the business plan will become effective. So this is the overestimate or underestimate. Do not leave out pertinent details. Pertinent details, relevant details. See, while preparing the business plan, some small points which is of not importance or later on which you can take into consideration. You if you just ignore, fine, nothing will happen. Like later on, see, business plan is not like exact thing, same it will not be. There'll be here and there slight differences, but you should not leave relevant details which is required to the business. Pertinent details means which is very important or relevant, which is very much required. Such type of details should not be left out. Like how much capital is required, that is very relevant. You after preparing financial plan, okay, approximately, no, not like that. That you have to calculate and chalk it out and find out how much finance is required. So you should not leave pertinent details. That is what it is mentioned here. Do not assume the audience members are experts in the industry. Not only that, while preparing the business plan, as I told you, it is not one man show. It will be prepared by the experts in that particular field. So because I am an expert, it doesn't mean I have to give the figures or prepare the plan in such a way that only I will be able to understand. It is not like that. See, this business plan will go to the general public also, because based on the business plan, a few people will try to invest in that company. So, if you just prepare yes technical aspect, if you take into consideration, many of them will not be able to accept or will not be able to take it out or will not be able to understand. So, while preparing, you should keep in mind the general public, and you should think that all are common people. Based on that, you have to prepare the business plan. Because I'm expert, because I'm highly qualified, I'm technically qualified, it doesn't mean I have to prepare the report in such a way that no one will understand. So all this without fail you have to take into consideration. Only then the business plan will come out very well. If you just neglect even one point out of it, the business plan will not be a success. So see to that all this will be taken into consideration, and this has to be avoided. These are the points which has to be avoided while preparing the business plan. what to do. Okay, we have come across what are the pitfalls, because that are the points which makes the business plan vague, or it's not up to the mark, it's not an excellent business plan. All that come will be stated only when you are not avoiding the pitfalls which we discussed in the last. Then what to do, how we are going to prepare the business plan. Write own plan and seek input. Write own plan means, see, yes, you are giving it to expert, fine, but each one of them will be expert in that particular field. So what you have to do is, you try to prepare the plan, seeking the inputs. Take all the inputs from all the experts and try to chalk out one new plan or one beautiful plan, your own plan. Because I am going to start up the business, and when I am going to start up the business, or I am going to expand my business, what happens? I'll be knowing each and every point of that business. So you try to write. See, now you are doing your BCom. After BCom, you are planning to do MCom or PG or MFA or whatever it is. So you have to write your own plan, because you know each and everything. Suppose you don't know, collect the inputs, collect the information from the other experts, and try to prepare your own business plan. Include all elements of the business plan. Each and everything has to be taken into consideration. You should not leave out any element what is required. Suppose if it is production, what all is related to production. On the whole, you have to take a production, finance, HR, technical aspect. All this you have to take. Each element you have to take, and in each aspect you have to take into consideration what all is required for that particular aspect. Suppose if you are taking say financial plan, so if you related to financial plan, capital and profit and loss account, cash flow, break even point, each and every element has to be taken into consideration. Because later on, because of one element, that whole aspect, suppose in financial aspect, if you just leave out one of the element which is very much required, that financial aspect itself will become a waste. So it should not be like that. So you see to that you include all the elements of the business plan. Conduct research and provide accurate numbers. Suppose if you are not able to give the proper figures, it doesn't mean okay, approximately andaja ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡೋಣ. No, you should conduct research. Based on the survey and research, you will get the accurate numbers. If not the exact numbers, at least very near to that, you will get the numbers. Nothing is impossible. You cannot say, how can I do research? How, I'm just going to start up the industry. I'm just going to start up this business. How do I get the figures? No, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. So conduct research, spend, shell out some money if you want the plan to be excellent. Even you the money also should be spent for the same. Then you will get accurate numbers. Based on that, the business plan will become very effective. Then explain both strength and weakness of the business. When I discussed about SWOT analysis, SWOC, that only, see, any business you start up, it doesn't mean it has only strength, or it doesn't mean it has only weakness. If you take an individual, or if you take each person, they have their own strength and weaknesses. Any person for that matter doesn't have only full everything plus point and only negative point. Each one have their own positive points, and each one have their own negative points. See, similarly, even for business also, it has both uh, strength as well as weakness. So we have to see to that both the aspect has to be taken into consideration. I am preparing the business plan. So why to discuss about weaknesses? I'll give only strength. No, both has to be given, strength as well as weakness. So if your business plan has to be very effective, see to that you give both the strength as well as the weaknesses of the business. Then definitely the business plan will be a success. Then finally, review and update the plan regularly. As I told you, this plan is not prepared only for the startup. Even the existing or ongoing business also you are going to prepare. Okay, I have prepared my plan. My work is over. I'm going to take rest. No, not at all. It has to be reviewed and updated. Again and again, the plan has to be reviewed, check out, and it has to be updated. Then only it will become more effective. anything for that matter, if you just leave it out, it becomes obsolete. So it becomes outdated. So you have to see to that the plan will be uh, then and there checked and find out, and it has to be reviewed again and again. It has to be checked. At least there should be some regular time intervals, and based on that time interval, the plan has to be rechecked and reviewed and prepared. Then the plan will become more effective. So these are the things which has to be taken into consideration while preparing the business plan. Not only the pitfalls you have to give utmost importance, also the things what has to be taken. If you give importance, definitely when this all the aspects are taken into consideration, which means that you are avoiding all the pitfalls of the business plan. So I hope these are the books which you can refer for further information, and I hope I have given enough of information regarding what are the things, what are the pitfalls to be avoided, what are the things which you have to avoid while preparing the business plan. Thank you all for listening to the video. Any queries, you can definitely contact me. So we'll see the next and last topic of the this unit, that is preparing the business plan, in my next video. Thank you all.